G'day, it's good to be back in the brewery. Today we're quickly going to talk about flow control taps. You may have heard me mention before that I'm not a huge fan of flow control taps. And it's not the tap itself mostly, it's that people usually get them when they have an unbalanced system that isn't working properly, and they resort to buying a flow control thinking that that's going to fix all their issues. To me, that's not the way to go about things. Balance your system and you can set it at the pressures you like and you don't have to worry about anything. I understand there is circumstances where people use a lot of different pressures in their system. I don't bother with that. I set all my system at one pressure and I'm happy with that for my lagers and my pale ales and my IPAs and all that at one pressure. That doesn't worry me at all. You might see me sweat a little bit today. It is 38 degrees in the garage. It's over 40 degrees outside. That's 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the brewery, about 107 just out in the driveway there. The reason I mention the temperature, because that will test this out. I'm going to get a keg, a cold carbonated keg out of the fridge. I'm going to whack this new flow control on there and we'll see how good it works. The other reason for flow controls is if you work for a beer company or a brewing club and you're out on site and you're taking all sorts of different, you might have your keg in ice, or you might have a benchy or a glycol system or something that's, you've got a warm keg and it's chilling the beer as you're pouring it. You might be using someone else's regulator and gas bottle, and so something like this is handy when you're in those situations because you can get into all sorts of trouble trying to pour beers at festivals. So if you're thinking about doing that, get yourself prepared. If we go way back in time, some people might remember I did a video on these, the original stainless steel quick disconnects with a flow control. In the video I said I liked it, and I still actually use this setup sometimes. I do prefer my other party tap. This is sort of a backup. It works, but I was never satisfied enough to put them into my keg system in the fridge. I just thought they restricted the flow too much. It's okay on a short tap system like this, but I didn't want them on in my brew kit. It wasn't going to work. And of course there's been lots of different designs. This is the latest one, I think, for the mini Nukatap. And they work, but I've never been satisfied enough to put them in regular use in my brewery. So that's why we're going to have a look at this new one. This is the Nukatap Flow Control Gen 2, where they've redesigned the shuttles inside. And for me, what I've seen of it, I think it's a much better design than any I've seen before. And simply all it does is it makes the beer go around a couple of bends instead of just straight out like it did in the other designs. It was restricted in the other designs, that's how they work. But this one just makes it go around a few bends before it comes out, and I think that will help greatly. I'll quickly show you the shuttle design, but Kegland have already done a 3-hour video on it, so I don't need to do that 3 hour. That might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration. As Keith shows here, the beer has to go around those two corners, the gap between the green and the blue, and that creates a lot more resistance than what used to happen with the simple shuttle system in the other types of flow control. So this should give you a lot more control over your flow. But let's stop mucking around and we'll get this on a keg. What we'll do is I'll get the keg out of the fridge, we'll try it out here warm, I'll mess around with the gas pressure and we'll just see how it goes. Of course there'll be links for this where you can go and check it out in the description. Now in here I do have a carbonated keg, right there. I just had an operation, I'm not allowed to lift it up. We'll do it in place, Just put the gas on. At the moment it's set to about 14 psi, that's what I use inside. Although it does go through a manifold inside which apparently pinches about 2 psi. So my system runs at 12 psi, but my gas is set to 14 psi. This is very warm. As I said, it's 40 degrees in this shed. I'll whack that on there. This first pour though, I have no idea what this flow control set. I don't know if that's on or off, or it only goes that far that way, so that's either full on or full off. So that must be off. So I'm just going to turn it on a bit. Getting a lot of foam. Though this keg hasn't been poured for a while, so let's back it off a touch. We will get some foam in that first pour because this tap is so warm. There we go, that's pouring great. Shouldn't waste this beer, but that would have filled up that glass easily, nicely. It's carved. These glasses are a touch dirty just from sitting around the shed. They're not the glasses I use in the house. But that's a great pour. Go again. Can't complain about that. We were pouring, yeah, about there. Let's bump it up a bit, eh? Quick tip, if you're ever setting pressure for a keg, you never set it while you're connected. Take it off. You can see that's moved. Test it. It's about 25, it was reading 20 before. Then reconnect it. Keep in mind, that's still at 25 psi. I reckon that's a win. Like, I don't like to give things reviews anymore unless I've had them for months. But a device like this, it's in the design, isn't it? Look, it's stainless steel. It's not going to break. The shuttle plastic is already tested, you know, in the older model. I can't see how it would fail in any way. So it works. It works. And that will be replacing my party tap. Finally in my brewery. Cheers. So I think that worked well. I'm going to be using this in the brewery now for my samples. I can move it around to my different kegs to sample and test, even on top of the Firmzillas or my brew builds. And I should mention that these parts and shuttles inside do fit the original Gen 1 flow control Nukataps. So you can just change out the guts of it if you've got one already. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like, share it if you can. It all helps. And if you get a chance, please check out my Patreon. A big thank you goes out to my current Patreon supporters. Without them, I couldn't keep doing these videos. Please consider joining our Instagram page and Facebook group.